Professor Mike Yao Osei Achunebwana, Director of CSIR Water Research Institute and a scientist at the Biomedical and Public Health Research Unit of the Institute, has stated in his engagement with Nation One TV that due to the devastating nature of the pollution on the country's water bodies, some people are drinking water that looks like tea, saying such waters are polluted with poisonous substances such as mercury, lead, and others which contain a lot of microorganisms.
Systems cannot work effectively. The kidney has about 83% of water, and it started from 2020. There was a sharp increase in the SDGs are in 2030. Now, if this is where we are in 2020, it means that we really need to double up. If we want to achieve this, it means that we need to go about 12 times. It's happening. That is the challenge you have. Now, in some of these waters, people may not necessarily drink some of these waters, but during the activities, some of them were engaged in the gold mining activity, and while they were engaged, they have exposure to the gold, they have exposure to heavy metal, they have exposure to arsenic, and this in the Galamsey area. You have people like this, and these have been reported in our dailies, and people actually are aware. So this is some of the deep malformities that you can experience. So you look at the fingers and the toes are more than the 5 that you have.
Professor Osei Achunebwana further revealed that most of the water levels in Ghana, because of population, are indeed so bad that it cannot be used for anything, even though Ghana Water Company Limited is trying their best. But because of the poor quality of water, the amount of money that is needed to treat 1 gallon of water has changed drastically, including the technology being used. He emphasized that about 60% of the human body is made up of water, and he added that there are other parts of the human body that need water for physiological activities.
Crucial for our life. We have food, we have shelter, and we have water. Now we can go about 30 days, a little bit more, without eating before we may die. For water, just before 1 week, if you don't drink water for 1 week, about 4 to 7 days, you may die if you don't drink water at all. It tells us how important water is to our life. And if you look at our human body, about 60% of the human body is made up of water. But then there are other organs in the body that need water for their physiological activities. If you take something like the brain, it has almost about 74% of water. If you take blood is almost like 80 to 90% of water. You take the kidney, it has about 73% of water. And then these organs need to function. You take the digestive system, it must digest the food. If you take the kidneys, it must clear the waste out of your water, waste out of your system. And they need water to do this. So if they do not have enough water, because everybody is expected to do roughly about 3 to about 4 liters of water each day. But it is not just the water that we're talking about. What is the quality of the water that is going into our system? So if the quality of water that is going into our system is not of good quality, it means that your body system will not get the right water it needs in order to exhibit the functions of the body. So that is why quality of water becomes important, and also availability of water becomes very much important for us. You have people that are drinking water that looks like tea. So if you drink such water, it means that there's a lot of microorganisms in this water. Some of the water have pollutants like mercury, like heavy metals, like lead and arsenic. So all these are in some of our water. So if you drink this water into our system, it's going to affect your digestive system, it's going to affect your kidneys, it's going to affect your heart, and it's going to, even not only that, it can affect the unborn baby within the uterus of the mother. And it is interesting that when a mother is exposed to these heavy metals, the unborn child, have almost double of the exposure of the mother. So the challenge is the quality of our water. And I talk about three classes. We have the water quality index. We have class 1, class 2, class 3. I can say that way back when I was a child, I've seen River Pra, I've seen River Densu, I've seen River Desert, I've seen. In fact, when you approach the river, you can see the river is clear. So we can see it's class 1. But now, if you go to most of our rivers, most of them are either at the tail end of class 2 or they are close to class 3. It means that the quality of the water is very bad. And some of them, you can't just use it for anything. That even though Ghana Water Company is trying their best, but the amount, because of the poor quality of the water, the amount of money that they need to treat about, let's say, 1 liter of water, or let's say 1 gallon of water, the amount that they use to treat the water has changed completely. And even the technology that they were using, formerly they can use just alum and it will just drop the color or the turbidity of the water. Now they need a much more advanced technology, which is expensive, in order to treat about 1 gallon of water. So this is some of the challenges that we have in terms of water. And I believe that it is about time that we need to change our attitude as a country towards maintaining the legacy that our fathers left for us. Our father left us a very good legacy, a good water, but now for us, in a generation to come, what we are leaving for them is water that is very much polluted. And I don't know if our children, our unborn children, will not come and curse us. There are about 3 things we need to do. The first one we need to do is infrastructure. Because there are some countries that, as 2020, the access to water, looking at the 17 SDGs, which water and sanitation is SDG 6. If you look at their access to safe water, some of the countries are doing like roughly like 99%. Some are doing 70%. But for us, Ghana, we are doing around between 26 to about 50% of access to water. Now, when it happens like that, it means that when are we going to reach the SDGs by 2030? And if you look at the pace at which we are moving, unless we double the pace by like 20 times or 40 times, we will not be able to meet our SDG, which is safe water, safe and clean water and sanitation. So these are some of the challenges. So in order to overcome this, there are some infrastructures that are quite good. We may have to add on some more infrastructure. The next one is education. How we need to educate our people as to how to use water. But not only education, it's education and we developing a good attitude towards the use of water. I believe strongly that if our attitude towards water, if we know that water is life and we need to maintain the integrity of our water, I believe strongly we will not leave our waters like that. The third thing is policies and regulations. There are a lot of policies that we have in this country to maintain clean and good water. There's a lot of regulations that we have. However, our biggest challenge is the enforcement of these regulations. I believe that if we can enforce, I mean, people doing the galamsey, if we have the political will to enforce, and our attitude is not only the politician, but the attitude of the Ghanaian person himself. Because if because of gold that you want to go and destroy water for our future, it will come to a time that we may not get the water we want. And the challenge is that it's not only the surface water. But when it's polluted, it also affects the groundwater. So you may think you will go for the groundwater, but then you will need also to treat and spend a lot of money. So what we need as a country is to try to enforce the various policies and regulations that have been enacted. And I think if we are able to do that, we will save ourselves for the future a clean, safe water for ourselves and the generation. Using tapoli tanks to establish aquaculture system. Now there are various systems that we use for establishing aquaculture. We have the ponds, we have the you have the ponds, you have the tanks, and you have the cages. All these are good. But here we want to use a system that everyone in the comfort of his home can rear aquaculture system. So we are using that to look at what are the challenges and see how best we'll be able to develop this structure for people to use as their business. And I believe strongly that if you use this, it can fetch you a lot of money. This tank, for instance, can carry about thousands of tilapia. It can carry 1,000 pieces of tilapia, and this one what we have here is catfish. I think you can see some catfish here. Exactly. I think you can see. Can you see this catfish? Yeah. Okay. This one is a little bit about 3 months. Okay. Can you look at that? Okay. So these are also a system that we're trying to improve on it to make sure that we give the opportunity to people to have business that they can send home. Because if you have any space of about 300, maybe 200, I mean, people have about almost built about their house in about one plot, and they can have about 10 feet square or something like that. If you have something like that, you can develop this structure and put something. You come to put food, and then you can bring it closer here so that they can see. Put a little bit. Put it close here. Okay, so these are what we want to help people. So anybody who wants to establish an aquaculture in his own home and his backyard, who does not want to dig the ground, you can have this. And come to Water Research, we're doing training and we are developing various business models to help people establish aquaculture in their own home.
Give us your impressions.
Okay, so today's program, I think everything went well. This is heavily based closet, and then I think the
Yes,
publicity as it is very.
I
low,
don't have
but then
anything to compare with.
a little that
But
came,
I think
just
for the
few people
2-day
that came, they were able
celebration,
to,
I'm sort of
buy from
impressed
us, and then like
for
things
what
are
has done.
moving
And I
well.
think
But
this
then
should be
I'm
like
thinking if their
the
menu
baseline to
and the
propel
publicity
forward
went far,
to make the
I'm
Water
sure we
Research
would have
Institute
made more sales than we are
a
doing
beacon of
now.
lights,
So thank you very
not
much
only
for everything.
this
Open Day event, which was made up of
Better
all
the
the
sales,
presenters
the
that honored
interaction
our
has been better
invitation
than that
and
of
came to
yesterday.
share
And
their
I think
wealth of knowledge and
such
understanding of our water issues.
such programs should be
We'd like to
organized
thank all the
often, to
institutions we invited
ensure
who
that we engage one
participated.
another,
They honored
interact
our
with one another, and see
invitation with
what
their
other
presence
people
and
have
they
for
contributed to
us.
the maintain the integrity of our water bodies. But water is life, and without it, we can't survive.
Thank you for watching Nation One TV. Kindly subscribe for more news updates.